Okay, now that was pretty good. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints. Felt good. Felt crazy pumped. Felt nice and hydrated. Got a lot of sleep. Maybe a little bit of excess sleep. I don't know if this is totally legit. I'm usually under the impression the more sleep, the better. But, yeesh. Time zone change plus just general fatigueness. I've spent more time in bed the last few days than I have out of bed. Let's just say it like that. That's how much I've been lazing. But it's all part of recovery. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm still kind of reeling from sleep debt after finals. I know it's been like 2 weeks, but that is not fun. And I never learned my lesson either. I'm like incapable of changing my study habits to actually maintain a good sleep schedule. It really just ends up being like, okay, for this test, it will require, 10 hours worth of studying. And for whatever reason in my freaking brain, that just means, okay, I can study for 10 hours straight the day before. Oh my goodness. Not good. Not something I stand behind for sure. But luckily, it's behind me. I was about to say it's behind me. It's behind us. I've got a pretty big demographic that's still in either high school or college. So hopefully I'm not, saying any trigger words for you. Because honestly, fuck. I still have dreams. I still have dreams where I wake up, or not, I'm not waking up, but I'm asleep. It's usually towards the end of my sleep schedule because I wake up to the dream, but I'm asleep. And somehow I'm like, wait a second, I have a so and so chemistry exam. Oh crap, I didn't study at all. Like, I even think it for classes I don't even have. Oh my goodness, it's rough. So then I'll wake up. I'm like, wait a second, I'm done. I don't have any more of that. At least not for now. So enjoy the good times while they're here, and try not to think about anything academic at all. Just get focused on pumps. That's the way to do it. But the pre-workout meal was 3 donuts from King Super, spelled with 2 O's. Believe it or not, it's a grocery store. It's just a off-brand Kroger, in my opinion. That's what I say. If I'm looking for a grocery store, I say, where's the Meijer? Where's the Kroger at? I don't know about no King Super. But they did have a lot of stuff I like. The grocery trip yesterday was all sorts of goodies. Some electrolyte mix, a thing of chocolate milk, a lot of deli turkey. Now, I hear bad things about the quality of deli turkey. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind right now with these hiccups. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, man. When I was an early lifter, I wasn't really in my first year of lifting, I never had ground beef. I wasn't taking down, top round steaks. I was doing a lot of eggs and a lot of turkey in the form of turkey sandwiches, just really thick, to the point where, honestly, for my size, it would be kind of comical how much turkey was on it. Like, people would kind of point it out. So I don't know. I like it. It's definitely better than. I'd rather have 50 grams worth of deli meat turkey than I would 50 grams worth of soy protein. And part of that is just being anti-soy or whatever. But actually basing my opinion off some numbers, which I know it's crazy, science-based, whatever. There are things in your diet which you should be. I don't want to say following like a strict plan on, because obviously, same thing with lifting, there's a lot of different ways to go about it dieting wise when it comes to just changing your body's composition in general. But of course, I'm going to be talking about like weightlifting style, muscle growth. But it's a little hypocritical, because obviously I'm eating all sorts of treats for carbs, and probably I'm not eating the most optimal fats. Like, I'm getting my omega-3s, man. I take in a ton of fish oil for sure. But carbs and fats maybe don't look up to me in that way. But protein, I can say this with certainty. You should be eating proteins which are high up on I don't know what it's called. The basic premise of it is a protein grading scale, and it's on a point system from 0 to 100. The criteria I'm not totally certain on. I'm not a freaking scientist, but basic premise: 0 to 100, the quality of proteins from different foods. Now, what do you think is going to be on top? List off 5 protein sources which are going to be on top. Starting now. Stop. Okay, I may or may not have added like a game show audio. Sometimes I say I'm going to do that and then I forget. But way up top, I think what's up there. Steaks, well, beef, turkey, chicken, fish, eggs, milk, animal sources. I'm not going to say you can't build muscle vegan, but regardless of ethical quarrels, it is highest up on the protein scale. Catch your own fish with a fishing pole, man. I don't know, do it as well as you can. Go hunt. But the dude eating legit protein sources up there, I'm talking milks, eggs, beef. I think that's where it's at. And not only just as a protein source, but just as kind of a complete food. I mean, I've gone through periods of like a lot of protein powder as my source of protein. I've had days where it's all protein powder, which if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But I can tell I feel much better, just strength-wise, everything-wise, when I get at least, I'd say about 100 grams of protein worth of red meat in tandem with, a bunch of other sources, which, like I was saying earlier, were up top in that green zone. Now, you work your way down, you get into the C student proteins. What are we looking at? I wouldn't mind actually having this grading scale right in front of me to read off, but I'm not so crazy to do that while I'm driving. I'm not texting either. I'm just looking at my, there we go, look at my maps. Because these roads are freaking curvy all over the place. There's no way I could remember my way. But as we get down towards, the 60 points out of 100 and lower, I mean, we're looking at vegetable proteins. We're looking at, wheat, soys, stuff like that, like tofu, that sort of thing. Which, I mean, I'm just going to say I'm not going to prioritize that sort of stuff. And honestly, I don't even really count it. Like, if you look in the nutritional, nutritional table? What the hell is it called? The nutrition facts on any food you're eating. At least anything bagged. Anything that's not labeled like that, just look it up online. Macros in so-and-so amount of ground beef or something like that, But you look at the nutrition facts, and let's say you're looking at 2 slices of bread, or you got an Italian loaf, sandwich style, which you're going to put a bunch of turkey, mustard, and mayonnaise on. That's going to be me in about 20 minutes, right? Now, it's going to say about 50-ish grams of carbs. This is turning into a dieting lecture, so tune in numbers wise. It's going to say 50 grams of carbs, and below that number it should say grams of fiber, and maybe it says 5 grams of fiber. What that means, you might have to look a little bit closer, just because sometimes it'll list the soluble and insoluble fiber. But if you see fiber or insoluble fiber and it's got, let's say, 5 grams, then that means 5 grams of those quote-unquote carbs in the sandwich, your body isn't going to be able to break down, because those carbs aren't, digestible. They're in longer chains of cellulose, if you know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, the basic building block of carbs, glucose, we're getting back to early kind of chemistry, that little 6-chain thing, that one molecule, right? That's right there. Now, sugars and sweets, those are a few of those connected, but only a few. Maybe 3 or 4, or 2, or even 1 if you get something crazy simple, like just straight up glucose, I guess, right? And then they can become more complex. Like if you're eating oatmeal, that's going to be made of much more complex chains of the glucose, which means it takes a lot longer to actually break it down and be able to use it for energy, right? That's what calories are. It's just the amount of energy in the food that you're eating. Now, insoluble fiber are just chains of that glucose, the same shit as like sugar, but it's just so long that your stomach's like, shit, man, I don't know what to do with this. I'll just freaking pass it right through me. I can't break this shit down, you know? Like, that's what's in fucking grasses and trees. You know, there's a reason why a cow has fucking 5 stomachs or so, because it takes a while to break that kind of shit down. But what I'm getting at is when you see that fiber label, it means you can take that amount of carbs, or that many grams of fiber, off the total. Because it'll say total carbs, 50 grams, and fiber, 5. I mean, it's 45 grams of actual carbs, which you're breaking down for energy when you eat that sandwich, or that piece of bread. Fats, you know, there's no fats that you're not going to be able to break down. At least not foods. I guess soap or whatever. Don't even think about that. That's just being stupid. So fats always count, right? 5 grams of fat, that's getting plugged into your stupid simple macro tracker. You can do Fitness Pal, or I don't know. That one seems kind of complicated for me. I want this shit just right there in front of me. Now, when it comes to protein, that sandwich is going to say maybe 5, or that piece of bread is going to say maybe 5 grams of protein. Now, I'm going to look at that and say, yeah, right. Yeah, sure. I'm not going to plug that in at all. Just because it's not a quality protein source. Now, people who actually do track their calories, when I say that, they're going to respond and say, but it's still calories. Even if it's not a complete protein, it's still protein, which has 4 calories per gram. So you're still going to get energy from it, which, yes, I agree with. So in a real dieting phase, if you're trying to cut down, if you're trying to lose body fat, then do take that into account, just because it is adding to your caloric load. Because if you start, not counting protein when you're dieting, then you could eat so much and not even be tracking it that you won't even be in a deficit anymore. But that's for people who are actually tracking their shit for real. But in a bulking context or a maintenance context, pick a number around probably 1.5-ish grams per pound of body weight of protein. So if you're a 150-pound dog, well, I'd say minimum eat at least 1 gram per pound. So if you're 150, eat 150 grams. If you're 200, I guess I do 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you're a 200-pounder, for one thing, I salute you, but also you should be getting 200 grams of protein. Any 250-pounders, whoa, right? 250, So relatively simple there. Some people, 1 gram, you're good. And or 1 gram per pound of body weight, you're good. There we go. But again, that's of quality sources. So if I have 250 grams of protein totaled, technically, for the day, but 50 grams of that were from, just breads or, I don't know, beans. I don't know the protein quality of beans. Maybe it's up there pretty high, and I should be eating more. But let's say 50 grams of the protein for my day so far haven't been from really good sources that are high up on that grading scale. Then I'd be inclined to want to eat another 50 grams of, chicken, or maybe have a shake or something, So that's what I'm talking about there. When I'm dieting down, I get much more talkative about macro tracking, because I would say in a dieting context, it is the absolute best method, at least in terms of efficiency and effectiveness, if you can actually do it, to lose body fat. Sure, you could probably get leaner doing some kind of Atkins, whatever. Not going to knock on that. It's insanely popular. It must work for a few people. But if you know that you've been eating 3,000 calories per day, and that's your maintenance, that's how many calories you eat just to live and stay the same weight, then if you track your stuff and you're actually diligent, and you limit yourself at 2,500 calories per day, and you do that repeatedly for the next few weeks, you should see a couple pounds drop off. So, but when it comes to bulking up, that you could be probably a little bit less strict scale-wise or macro-wise. I still like it just because I'm a friggin' macro tracking addict. But if you're eating enough food that your scale is changing and you're gaining weight on a reasonable basis, Definitely you don't want to get into like 5 pounds per week, because that is not 5 pounds of muscle, I can guarantee it. I'm talking maybe pound, a little more than a pound, 2 pounds a week. 2 pounds probably max. Obviously, you got to judge it based on how much body fat you're putting on. If you're not getting too soft, you can eat some more. But if the scale's changing, then clearly the amount of food you're eating is good. Though, if you hit a plateau, then that's a situation where it might be good for you to be tracking your macros, just because then you'll be able to realize, like, okay, I've been doing 4,500 calories for the last 2.5 months. I gained 8 pounds, but now I'm staying at the same weight. I'm not going up anymore. I gotta up it to 5,000, you know? So, best case scenario, you're tracking your macros. But if you're not, at least make sure the scale is changing. Actually, no, I don't even want to. There is no but. Start tracking your macros. I'm gonna lock it in there. But yeah, good back day. Oh yeah, what the heck am I even talking about? That whole rant started because I was going to talk about the pre-workout meal. I had already had a bunch of turkey and some protein from some chocolate milk too. Pre-workout, I'm not really focused. Well, pre and post-workout, I'm not insanely focused on getting protein in. I really just want to have some relatively quick digested carbs, aka sugars, aka sweets. So pre-workout, maybe 20 minutes before more like 30. It was just three supermarket donuts, original glazed, of course. I didn't look at how many calories they were. I was going to track them later because I knew I was going to have some more. But like I was saying in the pose down, as long as you're not putting on a ton of body fat, then I think you're at least not being too crazy if you have some sweets. You're going to be nice and carved up, right? That's what I think about it anyway. But don't forget that when I say anything, unless I really sort of like highlight, like, okay, this is legit, I like this a lot, I really stand behind this, like macro tracking or doing your cardio or pushing your sets really hard, stuff like that. But everything else, a lot of the time with these little bits of like diet advice or whatever, I'm not necessarily talking to you. I'm kind of just talking to myself in the third person, because I'm just talking about what's worked for me over time. So for me, I went down the route of macro tracking, and now I freaking like it. If I went down the route of like just counting my meals and making every meal like a similar amount of proteins and macros or whatever, carbs and fats, then I'd go kind of by meal, more bodybuilder more bodybuilder style, at least historically. But something about the macro tracking method, it just makes the most sense to me. So back was good, lats, traps. I really liked that hammer strength pull down. That felt pretty cool, especially that second set. Oh, it just felt like a marathon. Oh my goodness. But tomorrow is going to be arms, obviously preceded by cardio. Maybe I don't know what time I'll go in and do that, but 30 minutes. Make sure the shirt's sweaty, and then I'm comfortable with that. So should be a relatively, not even relatively, what am I saying? Should be a pretty goddamn freaky pump. I'm already freaking excited about it. In terms of what the actual movements will be, to be determined. Same thing like I was saying earlier. I don't know what kind of movement I want to do till I'm really in there. Unless I have something, even if I have something really locked into my mind, like I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, I really want to get some pull downs. I really want to get some incline bench. I really want to get some alternating dumbbell curls in. Even if I've got that mindset going in, if for whatever reason, maybe a machine preacher catches my interest, or like a dip machine or just something else, then that's what I'm going to go with. So just a little bit of a peek into the thought process. There we go. So now just get to go home, go to a little ramen restaurant. Probably, I had one bowl the last time I went. I'm going to get 2 this time. I think I need 2 freaking bowls. So if you're bulking, go hard, man. Get some food in your system. I think you already know the drill. If you're dieting down, maybe just tune out the parts where I talk about eating donuts and sweets and treats. I know I'm just fucking tempting you by saying that. So don't even think about it. Don't even think about cheating. You gotta get lean, man. Come on. Were you about to have a cheat day tomorrow? Were you thinking about it? Get out of here. All right, but that's all I got. I'm gonna make it up this hill without crashing before I turn the camera off. There we go. Now I will see you next time.